everyone, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Nina. I help people to declutter their minds and their homes using practical applications of psychology. And today we're going to be talking all about the 6 different mindsets that can keep us buried in clutter. And I should know because I have been guilty of every single one of these in the past, and I am guessing that probably at least a few of them are things that you are going to relate to as well. And of course, our mindset and our beliefs are everything. I think we've all experienced the phenomenon of emotional reasoning where we confuse our feelings with facts. We can be so convinced that something is true because it evokes so much emotion in us and stirs up all kinds of fears and anxiety. So it can seem like something is real even when it's not, and even when it's not serving us. So today, if you can, just listen to this list with an open heart and an open mind to see if any of these mindsets ring true for you, because if they do, it's going to continue to be very, very difficult to control the clutter in your life. And this is because you have an inner belief, an inner program that is working against you. You have a little voice in your head that is always going to be telling you that getting rid of anything is going to cause suffering or is going to be some kind of mistake. So we will continue to feel uneasy and conflicted until we identify these mindsets. And not only that, but really question them, reframe them, and finally move past them. And when we do this, we become empowered. Instead of using emotional reasoning, we begin to use critical thought, which is the key to having meaningful change in our life and making decisions that work for us instead of work against us. So let's go ahead and hop into this list, and I will be offering solutions and suggestions as we go. But I do want to let you know that no matter how helpless and no matter how frustrated you feel right now with this situation, that it is an area of your life that is completely transformable. I am living proof of that. I struggled with clutter for most of my life, and you might be surprised to hear how many other people also struggle with this issue. No situation is hopeless. So let's go ahead and take a look at those 6 most common false beliefs and mindsets that hold us back, and you can let me know which one of these you most resonate with. The first false belief is that memories will be lost without artifacts. When we start the decluttering process, for many of us, we start to get very, very panicky because we begin to think about all these sentimental items that we are very fearful to let go of. All the baby blankets and the ticket stubs, and at least for me, all the concert t-shirts. And we start to feel worried that we are giving them a final goodbye. We're giving that chapter of our life a final goodbye. And we feel like we're not going to be able to remember them unless we have all these physical items. And for many of us, we experience a psychological phenomenon called sacralization, where we have this unconscious belief that the object itself is somehow magical, that it holds the essence of a certain person or a certain event or a certain time period inside the object itself. And I know this sounds silly when we discuss it out loud, but haven't we all kind of experienced this? So for example, what if someone gave you a bracelet that was very, very ugly? If it was just a bracelet, we'd probably not have too much trouble letting that go. But if they told us that that bracelet belonged to our favorite actress or to our favorite author, we may have a lot more difficulty parting with it because of sacralization. We feel that the essence of that person is somehow attached to that bracelet. And I will be the first one to tell you that I have definitely fallen prey to this psychological phenomenon. So if it sounds familiar to you, you are absolutely not alone. And I think it is very natural to have that fear of letting go of objects that have memories attached to them, even though we know rationally that our memories are separate from the objects. So if you feel that this is something that you struggle with, I am going to direct you to a video that I made all about decluttering sentimental items and coping with the fear and anxiety that we can experience when we start to let go of these items that are filled with memories. So that will be in the description box below. Now, the second is the belief that more is better. A lot of people simply feel safer when they have a lot of stuff, especially if they have experienced lack in their past, or they have a fear of lack, or they have a scarcity mindset. We can feel that we want to have backups, that we want to have choices, and that we want to feel abundant. And this can be really challenging because we can start to worry that if we let something go, we're going to need it again. Or we may feel that if we declutter something and then we do have a use for it, we're not going to be in the financial position to purchase it again. And when we have this mentality, it's impossible to let go of clutter because we can always invent some kind of scenario in our brain where we would potentially need this object. So if this is something that you can relate to, I just released a video on this specific topic, coping with that fear of lack and that scarcity mindset that really keeps us holding on to everything. Now, the third mindset that can stand in our way is not being able to let something go because it was too expensive. Now, this is one that I really struggled with because I was a collector and I was convinced that just about everything I owned had some kind of special value. And so I was very reluctant to get rid of things, even though I didn't really enjoy them anymore, even though I wasn't looking at them or displaying them, because I had spent a lot of money on these objects. Now, in psychology, we call this the sunk cost fallacy, which describes our tendency to have trouble letting things go simply because we invested time or money into them at one time or another. So it does not matter if they have no value now or if we don't enjoy them or use them at all. If they are not serving us, we can still experience tremendous guilt and reservation discarding these items because of that initial cost. So what ends up happening for many people is that even if they start to address their clutter, really they just kind of sort their clutter into different sections, and one of the sections will be an overwhelming amount of objects that they feel have value, that they think that they can sell in the future. Now, in some cases that is possible, but from experience, most people don't actually follow through with this, or they don't get what they think these items are actually worth, so they stop the process, and these things just keep on staying in our home without being of use to anyone at all. So if this is one of the things that are holding you back, it is a topic that I have a full video about, and I will also link it down in the description box below. Again, it's called the sunk cost fallacy. Number 4 is the belief that everything is special, meaningful, and important. Now, this is when we can go through our home and pick up just about any object and really rationalize or justify keeping it because we can think of our personal connection to it, or the memories it holds, or why it's such a unique item, or why it's so useful to us, whether or not that is actually the case. And of course, when we think that almost everything has some kind of special value, we're not going to be able to get rid of anything. And I've also found that people that have hoarding tendencies, and I was definitely one of those people, they can be very creative. They can think of what uses or purposes an item could have if they were going to put the time and effort into using it that way. And again, from experience, that almost never happens. It's just stuff that we are storing that never ever gets used. So again, we just hold on to everything because we feel like it would be a shame to get rid of anything that has some kind of hypothetical purpose. This type of mentality can also make us feel like pretty much everything is sacred. So we're going to have a lot of difficulty even getting rid of one of our children's Halloween costumes, or a piece of their artwork, or anything that we were given in our grandmother's will. So here we're really failing to understand that if everything is special, then nothing is really special. Nothing holds a special place in our heart. And usually when we have so many of these things saved, we can't appreciate them. We can't even find them because they are buried beneath 1,000 other sentimental and sacred items to us. Number 5 is the mindset that it's thoughtless to get rid of gifts and keepsakes. So this is where we feel guilty getting rid of things that were given to us by other people, even if we don't care for them, even if they don't fit right, even if we have no use for them at all. We feel like we are somehow disrespecting them if we ever let them go. Or in other cases, we may have been given items when someone that we loved passed away, and we can feel like it's disrespecting their memory, that they would be offended if we ever got rid of these items. And sometimes we can keep these objects because we really loved that person, but other times we can want to keep items out of fear or guilt. We can feel like we are a bad person if we let these things go. So if this is something that we are struggling with, we simply have to understand the concept of gift giving itself. So the concept is that someone is offering a gesture out of love and appreciation, and once the gift is given, then this process is actually over. It's not a contract or a life sentence that tells us that we have to keep and use these items forever. It's simply an expression of love and gratitude. So if we are suffering with guilt at the thought of wanting to give these things away, we're really kind of minimizing their loving gesture. They did not give us these things because they wanted to incur suffering. They wanted to give us these things because they wanted to show that love and appreciation. So we can feel the love and appreciation and get the benefit of the gift, which is what they wanted to show us, and still give that object away if it's not serving us. So if at any time a gift that we were given actually starts to become a negative in our life, it is actually serving that person or their memory by letting it go, because ultimately they want us to be happy. And the last belief is that these items define me as a person. Now, of all of the mindsets, this is probably the one that took me the longest to overcome. So this is where we feel the need to keep these items for validation, whether it be internal validation or external validation. We feel somehow that these items are part of who we are. We feel the need to have a visual history of all we have done and all we have accomplished or all we have been through the years. And we feel like if we let these things go, we're somehow less important or we're somehow less worthy as a person. I've had many people say that they feel that their clutter is their story. They may also want to show others who they are by showing them what they have or what is important to them. Now, I struggled with this immensely because I had a long career as a professional dancer. I used to dance for Disney World, and I owned a dance studio, and I had lots of memories and lots of costumes and lots of artifacts that I just felt the need to hold on to because I really needed both that internal and external validation. It really took me years to get rid of many of these items because I had to wrestle with the fear that getting rid of these items was somehow erasing my accomplishments or erasing my history. But finally, I had that aha moment and I was fully able to separate who I was as a person with these objects. I could still keep the memories, I could still have these be parts of my past without holding on to everything. So if this is something that you feel that you struggle with as well, this is also something that I have a full video about. It's talking about decluttering items from our past. I will also link that down in the description box below so you have that resource. So these are the 6 most common mindsets and false beliefs that I see people struggle with that really do hold them back from clearing clutter. So I'm very interested to hear which one of these that you really related to. And please know that these are all very, very common. We're not bad people. There's no shame in experiencing these feelings, but it's also something that we can completely overcome. Keep going, keep your chin up high, and know that if this is an area of your life that you want to transform, it is completely possible. I see it all the time, and again, I am living proof of that myself. So as always, I truly hope that you found today's video to be helpful and interesting. If you did, please like it, share it, definitely become a subscriber if you are not one already. We absolutely want you to stay connected, and I hope the rest of your day is extraordinary.